Hey, what's going on, everybody? DTA is back after a week of vacation. But if you are part of the AMPS subreddit, I was doing daily posts on there. So although you didn't see me on video, I was making my daily analysis post on the AMP token subreddit. So make sure you follow that if you haven't already. Now, there is a lot of speculation and discussions going on right now about what happened to AMP's price today. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's daily analysis. So before we actually hop into what happened in today's sort of hack, we're going to do our daily analysis first. So this should be very, very quick. So as you can see, structurally, we are below our bullish pennant market structure. In today's daily candle, we had this massive bearish spike, right? We had a huge drop in price all the way from the high of zero point zero 0.06 cents to a low of 0.048 cents. But, I think the interesting thing about this candle is that we have this long wick right here, right? Let's zoom in to look at this daily candle just a bit closer. We have this long wick at the bottom of today's daily candle, letting us know that, buyers were in place to buy the dip, right? So there were a lot of people who, were waiting for a huge buying opportunity like this, and that actually played out in their favor because it actually drove the body of the candle back up. So we do know that there are still buyers in place for AMP, but we also want to investigate some other things, right? So let's look at the 4 hour to see what's going on here. So again, on the 4 hour, we can see that currently, there was this decreasing volume, but again, we had this huge spike in selling volume. And right now, currently, we're sitting below our support level, right? The bottom of our range where we were, sort of bouncing up and down between the 0.056 and the 0.075 level, right? Now, anytime you do break, a support level or a support zone, 80% of the time, the market is going to retest to get back on that support level, right? So with this as a prime example, we would expect to see something like this in terms of price movement. And if we do manage to get back in it, then we could wick above it. But again, it's going to be a retest, right? So if that retest holds, then we could continue to move sideways like this, or we could go up, right? If that retest fails, then it's likely that we may see a lower low with AMP. Now, I expect us to, get back to the 0.06 level probably in the next 48 hours or so, right? That's just because retests, they normally happen pretty quick. But the result of if that retest holds as support or not, that's what takes a little bit of time, right? So that's what we have going on with the charts right now. So moving on, let's talk about what happened with today's hack on Cream Finance, right? So Shield, well, Peck Shield Inc. is a cryptocurrency security and auditing firm, right? And they actually, did a little bit of analysis on this to find out and investigate where this hack and this exploit came from. Now they narrowed it down to one transaction hash, right? And they have it available on Etherscan for anybody to look and see, what the hacker did. But they ended up taking $18.8 million, right? And as you can see, they are, pinpointing this to a reentry bug introduced by AMP, right? And, they did their analysis. They, were able to look at where the reentry came from the hacker. And, they also make a flow diagram to model out, the pathway that the hacker did. And also, concluding it that the hacker actually did this process 17 times. He gained a total of 5.98 thousand Ethereums, right? $18.8 million in funds that was stolen. Now, there is a lot of speculation going on right now in the AMP community, also in the Cream Finance community, right? And one thing that Cream Finance is doing is, pointing the finger, right? That was something specifically said by the Cream Finance team, and also pointed out from all of the news that's coming out right now, especially from, the audit report from Peck Shield Inc. Right now, what I don't want to do is speculate, but what I do want to do is examine the facts, right? So let's examine the facts for Cream Finance. Now, one of the facts for Cream Finance is that back in February 13th, to be specific, Cream Finance was hacked. The hacker stole $37.5 million. And they did this using a technique of flash loans or flash credit. This is the same technique that the hacker that hacked Cream Finance hours ago performed, right? Clearly, Cream Finance has not fixed this bug in their technology. Now, fact number two, right? Cream Finance was audited by Trail of Bits, right? We can look at this on their GitHub. Now, in this audit report, Cream Finance has two weak and missing points in their audit, right? Now, the one that I want to talk about specifically is the specifications. Now, this says that the Cream Finance team is missing official documentation that was very minimal. But as this project was a fork from Compound, which most people don't know, much of the relevant documentation already exists. So, it's likely that Cream Finance may have just copied all of the documentation from Compound and pasted it on their GitHub. Now, the last sentence is where it gets interesting. It says, however, the specific differences from Compound were not documented clearly. Now, the implications of what this means is huge for me personally. As a researcher, if you're not clearly showing how you differ from a code that you forked, then you may not understand all of the nuances that are involved with your code as a development platform and as a team. This is something that Cream Finance needs to address. You need to show how you are different from Compound, technically, as well as functionally. You need to be able to do that and articulate this. And, since this audit report was placed on GitHub, they haven't fixed this issue yet. I think that they need to fix this issue, right? They have already gotten hacked once. I think that you should really understand your code and what your platform is doing, as well as all the nuances involved in it, in order for you to say that you are clearly different from Compound, because right now you're not really showing that to the community. And I think, the last fact that we have is, Cream Finance, they are pointing the finger at AMP. We can see this from the news that's coming out. We can also see this on their Twitter and from, the audit report from, Peck Shield. Well, it's not really an audit report. It's just, their initial analysis. I think that they still have a little bit more time to, perform an analysis to investigate and find out exactly where the exploit came from, because right now all fingers are pointed towards AMP. Now, let's examine some AMP facts. Now, one thing that we all pretty much should know is that, AMP's security audit was done from consensus diligence, right? Now, if you look at this audit report, I'll have a link for this website inside of the video description below. You can see that AMP has fixed every issue and acknowledged every issue found from diligence, right? There isn't one thing that the AMP team hasn't fixed or acknowledged, right? And this is a fact. We are looking at this live on the left-hand side, right? We're not going to scroll through and go through everything. We're going to look here on the left-hand side to see that they have fixed and acknowledged everything, right? Fact number two, AMP has never been hacked or exploited on any other exchange. This quote unquote exploit has only come from Cream Finance. I was about to say Compound, but no, it's only come from Cream Finance. And we know that Cream Finance has been hacked once already this year. And the last fact that I think is important to acknowledge is that AMP is not pointing the finger at anybody. The AMP team hasn't even responded to this quote unquote exploit. And I think that the AMP team has enough integrity to speak out when they know things for a fact, when they know things to be true. They do not speculate. That is a fact. We've seen this time and time and again. The team only speaks when things are official, when things are confirmed, and when things are implemented. So I think that, as time goes on and, more investigations happen due to this exploit, that the team will speak once that happens. So, I didn't want to dive into speculation today. I just wanted to examine the facts and remove all emotions from this situation. As an educated investor, this is what you should be doing. Avoid the controversy. But the controversy that's happening right now is actually pretty healthy from a speculation perspective. Why do I say that? Because, as this speculation and controversy grows, it will allow more people who never heard of AMP to learn about AMP, right? So essentially, we are attracting new people to AMP, or inadvertently allowing other folks who don't know about AMP to learn about AMP. So that's what I have for you guys today. Don't forget, if you like this content, to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And until tomorrow, DCA is out.